This morning, the floor creaked louder than usual. I've walked across these same wooden boards for 48 years, and they've learned the language of my bones. They know when I'm tired. They know when I'm hurting. And today, they knew I was carrying something heavier than my body. I'm Clara Whitfield. I'm 102 years old. And today, I want to tell you about the silence that shaped my entire life. You see, people think when you live this long, your biggest regrets are the things you did. They're wrong. It's the things you never said. I was 35 years old when I buried the love of my life. His name was Thomas. He wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. But when he laughed, the whole room felt warmer. When he held my hand, I felt safe from the entire world. We lived in this very house. Back then, the paint was fresh. The roof didn't leak. And my heart didn't feel so unfinished. Thomas used to sit on the porch every evening. He'd lean back in his chair, close his eyes, and listen to the wind moving through the trees. Clara, he'd say, promise me something. And I'd laugh. What now? Promise me you'll never hide your heart. No matter what. I promised him. But I broke that promise. Not long after our 10th anniversary, Thomas got sick. It started small. A cough. A little fatigue. Nothing that seemed dangerous. But sickness is a quiet thief. It doesn't kick the door down. It slips in slowly and takes everything while you're still pretending there's time. I remember the hospital room. White walls. Cold air. Machines making sounds I didn't understand. And Thomas, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. He reached for my hand. His skin felt thin. Fragile. Clara, he whispered. I leaned close. I need to tell you something. But I stopped him. I smiled and said, don't talk like that. You're coming home. He looked at me in a way I didn't understand back then. It wasn't fear. It was acceptance. He tried again. But I stopped him again. I couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear the sound of goodbye. So I silenced the man I loved to protect myself from pain. He died 2 days later. And whatever he wanted to tell me died with him. For 67 years, I've lived with that moment. Not because of what he said, but because of what I refused to hear. Silence doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. After Thomas died, people told me I was strong. But strength and numbness look very similar. I kept living. I cooked meals for one. I made the bed alone. I sat on the porch, in his chair, and listened to the wind without him. Years passed. My hair turned gray. My hands grew weak. My friends disappeared one by one. And through it all, there was one question that never left me. What did he want to say? Was he afraid? Did he want to tell me he loved me? Did he want me to let him go? Or worse, did he want to tell me something he'd never told me before? Not knowing became its own kind of wound. People think closure comes with time. It doesn't. It comes with truth. And I denied myself that truth. Not because I didn't love him, but because I loved him so much I couldn't face losing him. But here's what no one tells you. When you refuse to face pain, you carry it forever. I never remarried, not because no one asked, but because my heart was still sitting in that hospital room, refusing to listen. I lived a full life, they say. I suppose that's true. I watched the world change. I watched men walk on the moon. I watched telephones turn into tiny glowing screens. I watched generations grow up and grow old. But inside me, there was always that unfinished moment, that unsaid goodbye. This morning, I found his old jacket. It was tucked in the back of the closet. I don't know why I kept it. Maybe I wasn't ready to let go. Or maybe I was afraid letting go meant losing him completely. I held that jacket in my hands. It still smelled faintly like him. And for a moment, I was 35 again, standing in that hospital room, stopping him from speaking, choosing comfort over truth, choosing silence over love. And I realized something that took me 102 years to understand. Love deserves courage, not avoidance. If you love someone, you must let them speak, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts, because pain is not the enemy. Regret is. I regret my silence more than his death. Death is inevitable. Silence is a choice, and that choice shaped the rest of my life. People think they have time. You don't. You think you can say it tomorrow. You think there will be another chance. You think the moment will wait for you. It won't. Life doesn't wait. It moves forward, with you or without you. I've spent decades wishing I had done one simple thing. Listened. Just listened. Maybe his words would have broken me, but at least I would have known. At least I would have honored his truth. Instead, I protected myself from temporary pain and created permanent regret. That is the cruelest trade a human being can make. Now, at 102, I sit here alone, not lonely, but aware. Aware of how fragile everything is. Aware of how quickly moments disappear. Aware that the most dangerous words in the world are later. Later is a lie. Later is how dreams die. Later is how love goes unspoken. Later is how people become memories. If you love someone, tell them. If you need to forgive someone, forgive them. If you need to ask something, ask it. If someone you love wants to speak, listen. Because one day, there will be no more chances, only silence. And silence echoes forever. I don't know what Thomas wanted to tell me, and I never will. But I know what I want to tell you. Don't make my mistake. Don't trade courage for comfort. Don't trade truth for temporary peace. Don't silence the moments that matter. Because one day, you'll sit where I am, in a quiet house, with a long life behind you, and you'll realize the heaviest things you carry are not your years, they are your regrets.